Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show, your daily fix of football chat on STV. We're absolutely delighted to have your company. The main talking points tonight: Scottish clubs are making their moves in the transfer market. Some of them trying to strengthen their side, some trying to hold on to existing players. Could Stuart Bannigan be on his way to Aberdeen? We'll speak to a man who knows all about that. And we'll be looking at league reconstruction in the summer. Just a few of the topics we'll be discussing in the company of Alan Ruff. And I'm delighted to say our bookroom guest is Partick Thistle manager Alan Archibald. So let's cut to the chase, Ruffy. Quite a number of clubs are keen in Scotland to try and look for those loan deals here and there. There's a number of players on the back pages this morning that the clubs in Scotland are trying to hold on to as well. Waghorn's in there. Jason Cummings is also attracting interest. Tom Rodgick.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of the clubs will be trying to hold on to their best players. Nobody wants to lose them at this crucial part of the season. But it would be interesting. I think a few clubs will be tested if there's any money involved, because it's amazing how it's changed for 3 or 4 years ago. It was all money flying about all over the place. Now it's trying to find the best deal and a loan deal, but that means you have to move some players about before you can bring some in. Yeah,
the hot topic, of course, Alan, is Stuart Bannigan. I thought he was excellent the other night there in the cup match. He's just been a consistent performer for you. Is he on his way in the January transfer window, or are you hoping to hold him to the summer?
We'll hold him to the summer. He's one of the players you don't want to let go. And you said he's been consistent for 3-4 seasons. We've probably some great stuff out of Stuart. We know we're going to lose him in the summer. He's out of contract and he'll move on to maybe bigger things. But we'll try and get the best out that we can and make sure we finish as high up the league as we can.
Yeah. Is it a threat for you? Is that the worrying time when you think maybe a pre-contract's one thing, but if somebody come in with the right offer, the board is in a position where they think, OK, we'll take the money and run 6 months to go?
Yeah, but it would need to be crazy money for us to do it. Stuart's the heartbeat of the side. He has been for most of the season, so he's one that we're desperate to hold on to. It would need to be, as I said, it would need to be some crazy money for us to let him go.
Yeah, he has been good. I mean, sweet left peg, Ruffy, and of course he's one of those guys who's looking for the killer pass.
Yeah, he's one of these midfield players that's up and down the park. He always seems to be involved in everything that's good. And you can see the rest of the players sort of feeding round about him and getting everything that's going. But I was going to say to Alan there that I think just what you said there, and that's when you need a really strong board at this time. You need a board who is in the same thinking as you, that be keeping players and letting players go and judging your judgment, leaving it to your judgment to see what happens.
Definitely. I think because he's only got such a short time to go in his deal, it would be crazy for us to do it. Because it can be different for us staying up or not, and that's the main thing, the long-term security of Partick Thistle. So it'd be silly to take short-term gain for the long-term future.
Yeah, he has been linked with Aberdeen, Alan. Has there been a formal approach in that capacity?
Not at the moment, but I think there'll be a few. There'll be a few interested in Stuart. He's a free agent. I think somebody put an article out a few weeks ago with all the top free agents coming up in the summer, and Stuart was one of them. So I think he'll be on a few lists. A few managers will be keen to take him.
Yeah, OK, this show is famed for not being two-faced. It's as simple as that, I might as well tell you. I had you relegated. But the one thing I was looking and glaring as I'm trying to pick who's getting relegated, who's going to be in the playoff, I'm thinking, where are Thistle going to get their goals? But to be fair to Chris Doolan, he just keeps popping up. He's flying the flag, where I'm sure you'd love to try and get him some help.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of our success last year was getting Doole's help all over the pitch, and we didn't have that in the first 9 or 10 games. It was just relying solely on Chris. And over the last 10 games, everybody's chipped in. You've seen we got a couple of set plays all night. We scored 2 different goal scorers again. So that's the main thing, getting goals for other areas, not just relying on the forward players to do that. But I don't think you're alone in tipping us to go down, Peter. You're on a list in the dressing room with quite a few others.
I mean, and strangely enough, because you've played so well, I mean, I think it's 5 wins in 7 games. The 0-0 with Aberdeen, I'll be bold enough to say I thought you should have got far more out of the game than you did against Celtic.
Yeah, we thought that as well. I thought it was a good performance, and we've been on a great run, as you said, but we're still well aware we've been in this fantastic run and we're only 3 points away from second bottom, out of that horrible playoff spot. But at the same time, we're 4 points off of the top 6. With a couple of games in hand, we're one game in hand with some of our rivals. So we've got a good run, but it's important that we keep that going. It was good to get back to winning ways in the cup game on Friday night.
Yeah. I was going to say, and are you like some managers that come on the show, look at the fixture list and look at the hard run and the easier run that's coming and look at where you can pick up points?
Yeah, we are. We looked at that. I know we'd a tough first quarter the way the games are put out to us, but we realised that, I think it was the last international break just after the draw at the ends, that we knew the fixtures coming up, it was all teams running about us, and it finished off the quarter with Celtic and Aberdeen, so it was important to get a good run, and thankfully guys did that, and it'll come down to the games running about each other. If you can take the points off the teams that just below you or just above you, and that'll be the difference coming into the season.
Yeah, I have to say, you know, the other night there, I thought I was going to first of all die of hypothermia. Second, it took me till the 41st minute for the first shot. The first half was the worst game I've ever seen in my life. The second half, you know, you guys again continue with the passing and then got the breakthrough. You know, how important is the cup run to you, and what about Dundee United?
Yeah, a cup run's important. It's important from revenue point of view and get some finance in, but also for the fans and the players who want to go on a good cup run. The other night was a bit of a slow burner. I think, credit to St Mirren, they stayed in the game as long as they could as well. And I think when you see the results the next day, it showed what a good performance ours was, professionally as well, and getting which is not an easy place to go, to St Mirren Park and get a 2-0 victory. And you've seen some bigger teams leaving the tournament. So, no, it's vital to stay in it. We've got another, probably we wouldn't have picked Dundee United, obviously. You want somebody from another division, but I think it's a game that both teams will think they can go and win, and we certainly think that. So disappointing away from home, but I'm sure we've showed enough on our travels that we can get a result there.
Yeah, as a manager, do you look at it? I mean, there always seems to be a club that the other managers in the bottom six start to say, "Oh, they're gone." Have you written off Dundee United in the league, or do you still think, you know, you can't second guess because they might sign 2 or 3 players and make a surge?
I think with what Jim McIntyre and Billy Dawes done last year at Ross County, I don't think you can write off MD. I mean, the run they went on last year was fantastic. If you look at the table this time last year, everybody thought they were gone, and they put a fantastic run together and were safe. So I don't think MD can write MD off. We've just got to concentrate on ourselves and, as I said, winning the games that the teams round about us, and that will be crucial. Yeah.
As far as the movers and shakers, there's quite a number of things. I want to get, obviously, Alan's thoughts on league reconstruction as well, which keeps rearing its head, Ruffy, and gathering a bit of pace. What about the other deals that potentially could be on the cards? You're still not buying Anthony Stokes, are you?
Again, I think it depends what's on the table. Obviously, there will be clubs now know that he is going to go out and loan. It'll be interesting to see what clubs are in for him from England. We certainly know who wants him for Scotland. And I think if he's got his mind set and getting to the European Championships, I just feel he needs to be with a high-profile team and playing every week.
Yeah, and of the other players, again, in the Championship, Hibs don't want to let Jason Cummings go. There'd obviously be a bonus if they could get Anthony Stokes to play alongside him. And Rangers, definitely, I would suggest you don't want to let Martin Waghorn go. 25 goals. If he is transferred, incidentally, in the January transfer window, I still win the bet. He's got to get 40 goals for Rangers.
Yeah, and again, as Alan will tell you, it's a really big part of the season and keeping the fans on board. And certainly selling your best players wouldn't do that. You need to keep everybody together, fighting together right away until the end of the season.
Yeah, and with that point I was going to put to you, Alan, obviously you're trying to, in a January transfer, look towards anybody potentially that you could strengthen your side. And the other flip side of that for you guys is it always helps if you've got a lottery millionaire who helps you out, and you've got business people who are buying into what you're doing at Thistle. Have you got young players that could maybe help out as well that are coming through the system now?
Yeah, we have. We're starting to bear the fruits of that now. Jerry Britton does tireless amount of work on it. We've only been up and running a couple of years with the Thistle Weir Academy, but no, we've got 1 or 2 big Liam Lindsay's coming this year. We had high hopes for him, but he's probably outdone what we thought. He's featured nearly every game, and he's been probably a standout in our back four. And there's 1 or 2 others coming through. Young Nisbet, a striker that come on in the dying embers of the game against St Mirren the other night, and they'll all have a part to play in the next couple of weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the key as well, Ruffy. We always look at you know, St Mirren, other clubs trying to unearth somebody that can get them out of a particular predicament. That could be the key, maybe somebody that emerges from the youth.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody now knows that you need to have a strong academy. You need to feeder players coming through. I think there was a big bit in the papers today about Kilmarnock. Their 5 young boys have forced themselves into the first team, and that's what you're looking for. I think every good team has that 1 or 2 coming through.
Yeah, although the young player Blair Spittle, I don't think Dundee United are in any position to try and cash in on him when you consider what they've let go.
Yeah, but we don't know what Mixer's got in his contract, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Only you could start a fight with 30 seconds left in the first half, but no, I can't see it happening Coming up in the next part of the programme, we are going to talk league reconstruction. We'll also talk about a man who's been banging in the goals and he's picked up the Premiership Player of the Month. And we'll have more from our boot-room guest, Alan Archibald, on the Jags, who've got Dundee on the brain. Not only Dundee United, but of course the Dens Park men at the weekend. We'll get his thoughts on that game coming up at Firhill right after the break on Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Don't go away. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me. Peter Martin, our bootroom guest, is the Partick Thistle boss, Alan Archibald. The second half, we start by congratulating one man who's been banging in the goals for fun. Liam Boyce is the Premiership Player of the Month, and 5 goals in 5 games. I don't think anybody can argue with it, Ruffy.
Yep, and it's unfortunate that he's out just now. I think Ross County will see him as a big miss. Obviously, he's always in the box, as Alan will tell you. Every time we saw him, you know, there's one of these strikers, you know, that you know if something's going to break, he's always there hanging about and generally finishes.
I mean, it's almost a double-edged sword here. The players can score goals up here, haven't been able to score them down south. He's bagged 17 goals up here. I think he's had a really successful season. He's been a real handful for everybody.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a bit interesting in January, to be honest. It tells you a lot about the lad as well. I think he's shedded 2 stone or something, I think I read. And Jim's obviously done a lot of work with him as well. You can see obviously with Jimmy being a striker as well. And the way they play, they're really attacking. And he is a key player in the way they play. Him and the boy Kern are a real handful for any defence. And a big miss for them.
Yeah, maybe an idea us actually presenting the show from Dingwall, Ruffy. If we can shed 2 stone, that would be absolutely magnificent. I could get maybe a yard quicker at football. But I think he's been absolutely superb. The key thing here, you mentioned Ross County. They've got the aspirations now because of the setup, because they've been allowed to settle things down. They're looking and thinking to themselves, top 6. You've lost Graham, they've lost Liam Boyce. Suddenly you've got another couple that can actually fit in there. You know, they've lost Boyce, they've lost Curran, they've got Graham coming in, and Schalk comes in as well. Yeah,
they've got the one thing Jim's done. He's got a good squad there. I think he thought they had to build for the future. I think there was a lot of short-term deals before, and he signed a lot of the guys in 2- and 3-year deals to just try and get a good environment about the club that they're there for a while. And he's got other reinforcements, but I think it's hard if you've got that amount of goals coming from that front area. He'll be desperate to get them back. Yeah,
league reconstruction, Ruffy, seems to be back on the agenda. I just think strategically, this has been, I'm a cynic, I think it's strategically been placed to gather a bit of pace. The nearer we get to summer, Dougie Henderson, the Falkirk chairman, is banging on about it again, and I think he's going to bring it up at the next SPFL meeting.
Well, I think the league reconstruction, I think the biggest debate was the loss of games if you go to 16. But I think with the League Cup being put in place, you know, it's sort of just softening the blow a wee bit. I think they will have other ideas of how the top teams can get more games. Obviously, Rangers Celtic games are something that's always thrown out there in the debate as well. And I think something will be done. I would like to see not completely summer football, but instead of playing in December, January, you know, and just what you were talking about, the Friday nights that are horrendous to play football, and give the guys a better surface to play in. Yeah,
I don't get a sense from talking to people. I don't think there's a desire within the board of the SPFL to make this happen. I think we're very much at, you know, fans want to see a bigger league. Maybe some managers and players want to see a bigger league. I don't think the board want to see a bigger league. I think they're just looking at it in the cold light of day on a financial footing.
I think it always comes down to finance, Peter, but what it should come down to is our national game and how it helps Scotland and helps youth development. I think we've just got to try and get aside their best interests. I think for years Scottish football all came down to, they met round the table and everybody thought, oh, we can't do that because we're lost in X amount of games. It's got to come down to what's best for moving the game forward, and hopefully Gordon Strachan and Brian McClure now in charge of that, they'll have an input in it as well. What would you like to see then, Alan? The 3-year wait will be over in the summer. They could actually change it in the summer if they wanted. I'm not a fan of the 4 games a season. I think it's hard to market it. I mean, we played Dundee United, we played them within 12 days probably. We'll play them twice, and if they draw and it goes to a replay, we'll play them again. So we'll play them 3 times in probably 14, 15 days, which isn't ideal for any fan, and we're trying to get more people to come to the games. So it's just trying to get the right balance, I think, of how many games and how many teams. I don't know how they're going to get round it. But just hopefully it's the best for the national game, and it's not just about the club's best interests.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it going to 16, Ruffy. I get a sense from talking to certain individuals that there's no real appetite for it. Although I would love to see something that is, as Alan mentioned there, mixes it up, makes it a wee bit different, and takes away what Paul McStay used to say when I interviewed him almost 20 years ago. He said, players actually know the feint, the drop of the shoulder now. They can second guess everything because you play each other that often.
Yeah, and I think Alan's touched on it. Again, the fans are an important part. If you get fans who are, as Alan's saying, continue playing the same team, sometimes you get fed up and you just say, well, I've been at that game a couple of weeks ago, I'm not going back again. It was this or it was that. So I agree with Alan. I always thought old school, a team coming once a year added that bit of excitement. You knew they were coming, everybody was built up for it. You were only going to get them unless you got them in a cup game. So I think the excitement was more that 2 or 3 weeks we've got this team or that team.
Yeah, one of the reasons it's been highlighted to me, Alan, is the fact that the league suddenly is alive, top, middle and bottom. It was last season. I mean, it was exceptional, the situation that a number of clubs found themselves in, apart from obviously you get a situation where Hearts ran away with the league. That's fine, they're the strongest team, maybe to the surprise of people in the Championship. Celtic eventually too strong for everybody, but in the top six, the battle to get into the top six, then suddenly 3 or 4 clubs involved in the battle to stay in the league effectively.
Yeah, I think we've had that the last few seasons. I think there's always been that competitiveness. And it's again this year, it's right down the middle. I mean, we're obviously 4 points away from 6 and 3 points away from second bottom, so it is real competitive. And it's great. It's great for all the teams, and same in the Championship as well. And there's not a lot in it. I don't think there's a lot in the top 4 or 5 in the Championship to probably the bottom half of the Premiership.
Do you like the playoffs?
I do. I'm not involved in them. Sit back on holiday and watch them's great. No, look, it's great drama. I think we all wanted it in. We've watched it in England for long enough, and you see it in the Championship. You've seen Norwich doing it last year. It's great to watch. It's just nerve-wracking if you're a manager involved in it, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see. I mean, I know you shouldn't actually get to the point where you're celebrating finishing second bottom, but I'd actually like to see a trophy at the end of it. Because of the whole fanfare that we're talking about down in England, that's another edge to it as well.
Well, Alan will not have to worry about that because you've got them relegated.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't you worry about the playoffs? Yeah, absolutely. Although, we're talking about Dundee United, they need to make a remarkable recovery. Ruffy, I have, Alan won't say it, but from our point of view, I have Dundee United gone. It's now about guessing who is second bottom.
Yeah, I think the chance that they'll be hanging on to is trying to get into the playoff. I think if they thought they had a chance of getting there, that would be a bonus for them. And as Alan said, there are teams who went on a run, and that's what they need to do. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the window. It'll be interesting to see if he does bring in 2 or 3 players, but certainly it's an uphill task, and it's a place I personally, as a player, I'm sure Alan wouldn't want to be in that position where they are now.
Yeah, and with that in mind, and I hate to see managers lose their job, even Martin Canning has admitted, it was a really tough result to take in the Cup against Annan, but he knows that he's under pressure. Yeah,
I'll tell you, everybody's under pressure. You go not winning games for 3 or 4 weeks, and the pressure's on you. I'm sure you must feel it. But Martin Cannon won't be the first manager who's been in the end of a bad result and turned it round. I think it was Motherwell one year get beat by Albion Rovers when they were really struggling, but they managed to turn it round eventually.
Yep. Okay. Give us your thoughts then, Alan. The weekend, it's Dundee. They're a side that I think we were excited about. I thought they were going to be top 6, basically because it was refreshing to see Paul Hartley with Kane Hemmings, with Rory Loy in there as well, and Greg Stewart. 3 strikers that I thought they've got goals, but they've been inconsistent.
I think it's just a bad run. I think we all have bad runs. Ours was at the start of the season. Hopefully that's gone with now. And I think Dundee started fantastically well, and then they went in a wee bad run themselves, and they got a great result in the derby. But one thing they've always got seem to have goals in their team with they kind of players, and throw Harkins into the mix as well, and a great bit of creativity. You see, we've got in the weekend. We've not struggled to beat them. We've had a couple of draws and they've beat us. So hopefully Saturday's the day.
Yep, I'm looking forward to that one. That's one of the games you'll be covering, Robbie.
Yep, I think it will be a good game. As I say, there's plenty of players on show that can come up with the goods, and obviously Alan looking for other people as well as the wee boy Doolan to chip in with goals to take the pressure off of him.
Yep. Just I've got to give a mention and well done to Jack Ross's Alloa. They got a surprise win, Ruffy, last night, 1-0. Especially, I don't think too many people would have tipped him away at Wraith Rovers.
No, I mean, they've always been, down there for the past couple of seasons. Sometimes they've managed to scrape themselves out of it, but certainly a win away from home up at Wraith Rovers, which is a hard place to get points, will be a bonus for them.
And last point on this, Celtic have got a strong link with Manchester City at the moment. Do you see Bersen Chilina being the latest of the conveyor belt from Manchester City to Celtic? This is another loan deal being linked.
Yeah, I think Celtic being Celtic will have to bring in a couple of players just to appease the fans.
Okay, Ruffy, short and straight to the point. It's as simple as that. I hold my hands up to the Jags fans. I had you relegated, but I've changed my mind. I reserve the right to change my mind. It's been great having Alan Archibald on the show. From Ruffy and myself, thanks for watching tonight. Good night.